Hello students, hope you all are doing well and you all are also studying well during this lockdown. Anyways, welcome to this video. So today we'll be covering file operations, the basic file operations in C language. So before we begin with basic file operations in C language, first we'll understand what is the need of the file. So far, whatever the programs we have executed or we have practiced during lab sessions, so the programs are typically like this, that you execute the program, so you give the input to the program and then the program produces the output. So for one particular execution, suppose we are calculating average of 3 numbers, then you provide 3 numbers to the program and that gives you the average. So this happens in one execution. So when you go for the second execution, then you close that output window and you have lost the data which are entered in the previous execution. So now you give the fresh inputs and you get the another output. So what happens, whatever the input you give to the program when program is executing, those inputs are processed and give you the output, but these all inputs and outputs are not stored on any permanent file or any permanent data storage. So that is the need of the file. So for any program, when it is in the process of execution, so whatever data is stored, that will remain until the time of execution only. Once execution is completed, then whatever data was used in the program is lost. Whatever data we had stored into the variables and we had used it for further calculations, those all data is nowhere available once the execution is completed. So that's the reason we have to make use of file. So if you want to store any kind of particular data, or if you want to go on storing the data which are given as input to the program along with their output we want to store, then we have to make use of file. So this file can be a simple text file. So once we create the file, then to the file we can write data onto the file, we can read data from the file, and that file remains in your system until and unless user do not delete it. So the file basically when we store in one particular location or in drive, it's on a permanent data storage. Permanent in the sense until the user do not delete, that data is still there. But the data which is used during the program execution is there only until the execution is going on. Once execution is completed, that data is not available. So that is the reason we have to make use of files. Okay, so we'll cover the basic file operations in C language. Basically, we have 4 types of basic operations of files. So first, beginning with creating file, opening file, then writing data to file, reading data from file, then we have closing file. So these are the basic operations on file we'll be performing. So beginning with creating file and then opening the file. So creating, naming the file, opening the file. These all three. Okay, I also write here naming file. So these all together is one operation. This all together is one operation. At one go we will create the file and we'll also give name to the file and we'll also open that file. So this all happens at one go. Then we have writing data to file, then reading data from the file and closing file. So basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 basic operations of files we are going to cover. So to deal with file, what we require is the file pointer. So file pointer will help us to point or to relate it with the file which is stored at one particular location in your system. So we have to make use of file pointer, and with the help of file pointer we can perform these all 4 operations. So how do you declare file pointer, by the way? We have to make use of keyword file. Now it's file, F-I-L-E, all in capital letters. And then pointer, how do we define? We make use of the operator, star operator. Same we are going to use here. So here I'll be, now for example here I have declared the file pointer fp star. So this file pointer is able to hold the location or able to connect with the file anywhere you have stored on your computer. So this way we have to declare. So file, keyword file, and then star, then the name of the file pointer. So you can make use of any name of the file pointer. Now using this we can access these all 4 operations. So the first operation for creating and opening file is fopen. Now this is the function called as fopen. So this function takes 2 things. It takes the path of the file along with the name of the file, and then it takes the mode in which file has to be opened. Now what do you mean by the mode of the file? So we are using file for some purpose. So you are using file either for writing data, or you are using file to get data from the file, or you may use the file to go on writing data every time, also retaining the previous one. So these are the 3 basic modes. So if you want to use the file to put data into it, then it is into the write mode. If you are using file for getting data from the file, then it is read mode. And if you want to use file for going on appending the data, I mean in one execution you put some data into the file, in the second execution you will remain the first data which is put into the file, that is also saved, and along with that the second data is also put into the file. In that case we'll be using append mode. So basically we have these 3 kind of modes: write mode, read mode, and append mode. So fopen takes 2 things, that is the file name along with the path and then the mode. So this is what the fopen function requires. So now what is the use of this, by the way? So this file pointer will be using to connect it with the file name, or to join with this file name which I have mentioned. So here I'll be mentioning the file pointer which I have defined, and then assignment operator equal to function fopen, name of the file and the mode in which you want to open the file. So this will open the file into the mentioned mode, and then this fp pointer will point to the file. Now using this fp pointer, if we perform any kind of operations on it, then those operations will reflect the data onto the file which are mentioned here. Okay. So now in the case if the file name which I have mentioned is not existing, then this function will create the file in the mentioned path. It will create the file and open the file into the write mode. So here in the case open the file, that means now the file is ready, where you can use it for writing any content into it, or reading or appending. So that is the meaning of opening the file. Okay. So now one example let me take. So our file pointer fp, then fopen, Okay, now what I have written here, fp is equals to fopen, then c colon desktop, and then sample.txt. So this is the name of my file which I am searching into the on the desktop. So if this name is not there, I mean if there is no such file, then this function will create that file, and then I mention. So now here I have mentioned the mode W. That means the file will be opened into the write mode. Okay. So now imagine here I am trying to draw. Suppose this is your KDevelop desktop. And here you have trash, then home of user, okay. So now what happens when this particular statement is executed in your C program, that fp is equals to f upon c desktop sample.txt into write mode, then what happens on the desktop, you will find a file called as sample.txt. So you'll find this file called as sample.txt, and if you open this file, so you'll get a file which is text file and there is no content in it. So this file will be blank and there will be no content in it. So this way it will create the file wherever the option, whether the file path is defined, in that place it will create the file. And if the file is already existing, then it will open the file into the write mode. Open the file into the write mode, that means it will make the file ready where we can put the content, where we can write the content into the file. That's the meaning of opening the file in this case. Alright, so this is your function fopen. Now what you are going to do after opening the file? So once the file is opened, so now when you have opened the file onto the write mode, then you may want to write some data onto the file, right? So you may, whatever you are able to write now on the output screen, the same thing you may put onto into the file. So usually on the output screen you may write some numbers, you may write a message on the screen. The same thing you can put into the file. So that is what, again, writing something to the file. So the basic output function we have learned so far is printf function, that is your formatted output function. We also have putchar function. We have puts function. So putchar, puts are string specific. Printf is formatted, so mixed kind of data you can put it on the output screen. So similar such functions we also have where you want to put some content on file. Okay, so one such function is putc. Now this function putc writes one character into the file. Okay, so it is for writing only characters. Character may contain anything from your entire character set. It may contain letter, it may contain digits, it may contain white spaces, it may contain special characters. So putc will help us to write character by character onto the file. Okay. So similarly we have function called as putw. So now this function putw helps us to write only integers in your file. So using this function putw, you can write one by one integer value to the file. So one by one integer value means it can be any particular number. It's not only digit, it can be a group of digits. So that one value of integers that we can write onto the file. Then we have the function called as fprintf. Now this function fprintf will help us to write data on file. Okay, so now this fprintf will help us to write mixed kind of data with some numbers, with some characters, everything all together. We can make use of fprintf along with the control string, and we can put that data onto the file. So these are the basic functions we have for writing to the file. Similarly, for reading data from the file, we have getc. So what this function does, it just takes one character at a time from the file. Okay, then we have getw. So this takes one integer from the file, and we have fscanf. So fscanf, it takes the entire row, whatever what we have typed onto the file in one particular format. So with the mixture of all kind of data, we can use fscanf that can read the all kind of data from the file. So these are the basic file functions we are going to cover by one in the next examples. Okay, now we'll have a look on the syntax of putc, how to use putc function. So it takes two parameters, it takes two things. First, the character which you want to write into the file, and then the file pointer. So it takes these two things. The first parameter is the character, and the second parameter is the file pointer, which is pointing to the file in which you want to put the data. So this is how we have to use the putc function. Okay. So now we will write a C program. We'll write a C program where you are giving the input on the output screen. Same input we will copy in your file. Okay, and then we'll store it into the file, and then next time when we have to print it on the output screen, we are going to fetch this input from the file and again print it on the output screen. So what we are doing, we are taking our input on the output screen, copy it into the file, from the file you fetch it and print it on the output screen. So this entire exercise we are going to do in one program. So we require putc function which will write character by character onto the file. Similarly, we also require getc function which will read one by one character from the file. So for getc function, the syntax is like this. Here we have to just mention the file pointer. So this will take one character from the file which we will store into the character variable. So the syntax is like this: putc first character variable and then the file pointer, and then we have here character is equals to getc and then file pointer. So this will write the character which is there in this variable. This will read the character from the file and store it into this variable. So this way these two function works. Okay. So now your execution, let me start from the main function. So to deal with file or to connect file with file pointer, we have to first declare the file pointer. So here I declare file pointer using the keyword file. Say my file pointer is fptr. This is the file pointer I have created. Alright. Now the next thing is, whatever the content you are going to type on the output screen, Those all things we will put into the file. Now anyways we are going to use the functions getc and putc. Both of them are for reading and writing only characters. So whatever you are typing in on the screen, that can be a mixture of anything. It can be a message, it can be a number, it can be combination of both. So that we are storing into the character and we will write it as character on your file. So only if the thing is here, if you are writing any number, then that number if we are putting as a character or reading is as character and storing as character on the file, then that number has lost its magnitude as number. It is just a string. Okay. So now let me create one variable. Let me declare one variable of type character. So here I declare a variable of type character which is C. So when you declare the variable of type character C, now this variable C is able to hold exactly one character in it. It is not able to hold the entire message what you are going to type on the screen. So I am not going to mention the size for this. I am not going to mention it as the one-dimensional array. Let it be only a simple variable C without size which takes only one character. Anyways, this function getc and putc, those functions deal with one by one character at a time. So we are going to use only a simple character variable. Okay. Now we'll ask user to enter content, so that we are going to copy onto the file. So before we go start copying it to the file, or before we start writing something to the file, we have to open the file onto the write mode. So for that I have to use the function fopen. So my file pointer is fptr is equals to fopen. So here I give the file path, along with the file name sample.txt, and I open it in write mode. So now file is ready in the write mode, so we can go on copying the content onto the file. Okay, so now your file is ready and also we have printed the message on the screen for the user. Now the next thing is we have to take one by one character and we have to put it into the file. In that case we are going to use this variable C multiple times and we are going to form a loop. Now what should be condition? How long you are going to read it? So one fine thing is, like, if you want to read only one sentence, then we can read at the end where it is new line. So I form the condition this way. While C equals getchar. So now what this does, getchar takes one character from your output screen and stores it into the variable C. Okay, if that character is not equal to new line. So this is the condition I have formed. C is equals to getchar, and if it is not equal to new line, then I write all those characters to the file. So in this loop, now here I have to make use of the function putc that will write one character to the file. So for the function putc, this is the function. Then the file, first we have to mention the variable character variable which is C, and then the file pointer, that is fptr. So here ends my loop. So now how this will work? So if you have entered the message good space morning and then you have hit the enter key, then first character will go is G, and then you put that character into the file fptr where pointing to. So fptr is pointing to the file sample.txt which I opened into the write mode. So this will take one by one character. Anything other than new line, all those things will be put into the file. Alright. So once this finds the new line, once that new line is stored into the variable C, then this condition will be false and then this loop will be terminated. So this way you will complete the copying all the characters to the file. Alright. So once you have done with copying everything to the file now, the next thing is here, I have to close the file which I had opened. So now the file is closed which I had opened. So syntax is like this: fclose the function and then you have to just give the file pointer. So the reason why I have closed this file, that for the second time when I am going to execute it again, and if I attempt to open the file which is already open, then that may cause a problem. So it's always the good programming habit, once we are done with the purpose of the file, now once I have completed writing all the contents to the file, then I am supposed to close the file. So this way I have closed the file. Okay. Now what is the next thing? Now let me print a message. Content copied to the file. Okay, so just user will be notified that whatever is being entered on the output screen, that same content is copied to the file as well. Okay, now the next thing is, again I have to open the file, I have to read everything from the file and go on printing it on the screen. So that reading also we are going to do by using the function getc, which reads one character at a time from the file, and that one by one character we are going to print it on the screen as it is. So for that purpose I have to open the file again, but you will be opening the file into the read mode. Okay. So now again I repeat the same statement. So I can reuse the same file pointer, no issue. So fptr is equals to fopen same path and same file name, only the mode which I have mentioned here is the read mode. So I will be opening this file into the read mode. Okay, so now once the file is opened into the read mode, then I can again form the loop this way, which will take one by one character from the file. So to read the one character from the file, we have the similar syntax like c is equals to, instead of getchar we will be using getc, and we have file pointer as the parameter. So my loop will be like this: while, okay, c is equals to getc, and then I mention the fptr. So what this does, this takes one by one character from the file fptr and then stores it in the variable c. So at a time it takes only one character. Now how will you find the end in the file? Now while giving the input, we had understood that new line would be the end of the input. So similarly, how will you find the end in the file? So we have some character called as EOF, that is the end of the file. So I can repeat this as long as it is not end of the file. So if C is equals to get C in fptr, if it is not equal to end of file. If this is not equal to end of file, that means that character I need to print. So if it is not equal to end of file, that means there are no more, that there are characters which are there into the file has to be printed. Once you find the end of file, that means there are no more characters or no more data into the file. So for any file, EOF, this character, that is end of the file, tells you that this is the end, there is no data beyond that. So that will always help you to find the end of the file content. Okay. So now this will take one by one character and it will take all the characters one by one. and it will terminate once you are done with all the characters. So now once the character is there into the variable C, now what you're going to do into the loop, I want to print it on the screen. So my simple printf statement. Anyway, we are just printing it on the output screen. So simple printf statement with the control string %C. And here I would print the value of C. Okay, without any space. So it will print however, whatever it is entered onto the file in the same way it will print it. And then we close the loop. So here you have copied and also read the data from the file and you have printed as it is on the output screen. Then, okay, let me just write the last statement, say end of program. And then close the main function. So this way I complete this program. Okay. So one more thing we'll add here. So here I add the printf statement, file contains, and then new line. So this is your complete program. Okay, so we'll try to trace this program. We'll see how this works. Your execution always starts from the main. So it creates the file pointer fptr, which is as of now not pointing anywhere, and the variable character variable C. So you'll have the character variable C with some memory allotted to it. It's of 1 byte on 16-bit machine. Then enter contain. This message will be prompted on your output screen. So after this message is prompted on the output screen, enter contain, fptr, fopen, and this entire path. So this creates the file called as sample.txt. Now in this case, here it is already there in the desktop. Assume it is there on the desktop. So this will open the file onto the write mode. Open the file in the sense it will prepare the file for writing content onto it. Then the next thing is C is equals to getchar and not equal to new line. So now C is equals to getchar. Getchar takes one character at a time. So now after you see the enter content, so here cursor would be waiting for you to enter something. Now suppose you enter good and then space day and then you hit the enter key. If this thing you have entered. So now what getchar does, it will take first capital G onto your variable C. Variable C will have capital G and that is not equal to new line condition is true. Then you put that character onto the file fptr. Okay. Now suppose we'll imagine the file. Suppose your sample.txt file is this way. So here it has copied capital G. Then the next time again getchar will be executed. There is no such increment as like. So once you read G, so the remaining characters will be pending. Then what happens? In the second loop, it will take the second character. And second character is also not new line. So it also copies the second character on your output file, on your sample.txt. Similarly, it does with all the characters GOOD and then also space and then DAY. So these all characters will be copied successfully onto the file. Then the thing is, next time again getchar when executes, it takes this enter key, that is like new line character will be stored into the variable C. And then it checks for the condition new line is not equal to new line, the condition is false and you terminate the loop. So this way you will successfully copy all the contents from the output screen to the file. Then the next thing, you close the file which was opened. Then the printf content copied to the file. This message will be prompted on your output screen. So this content copied, this message will be prompted on your output screen and then it will also print the file contains whatever you have stored onto the file and then new line. So it takes the cursor on the new line. Now you have again while loop. Here is equals to c is equals to getc fptr. So getc will take one by one character from the file, and where fptr is pointing, where it is pointing to the sample.txt, and which we have opened already into the read mode. So this will take one by one character. So it will take g, so that will be printed on this cursor. Then it will print also ood and then day. So after day in this, at this particular place only, there is end of file. So that end of file character will be copied into C, and this will make this condition false and you terminate the loop. After terminating the loop, you will print the message end of program. So one more thing we have missed here is we have to also close the file which had opened into the read mode. So let me write that statement as well. So that is fclose and close the file fptr, where fptr is pointing. So anyway, so this way it will be, and then at the end it will print end of program. So this way you will put all the characters to the file one by one, and then you can also read them by using the getc function, and this way you are able to handle the data. We are going to put the data onto the file. Okay, so what is the difference here? Your input which you have given, that is stored in the file. So you can also edit that file if it is required, and if you want to store all the inputs in your file. Suppose if you have, as of now, have stored the first input on your file. If you want to also store the second input and also maintain the first. So this way if you want to do, then what we need to do is, we have to open the file into the append mode. So if you open the file into the append mode, every time you put the data onto this file, that data goes on appending and also maintains the previous data. So if you open the file every time onto the write mode, it happens the same way. You enter the data, that data is there on the file. If you enter for the second time, the previous data is completely overridden. Alright, so this way you can deal with the file by using the function getc and putc. We are able to put the characters, or I mean write the characters to the file and also read the characters from the file. Alright, so the remaining functions that will be see in the connecting videos. So for any doubts or any queries, you can put it into the comment box. Those can be clarified. Thank you.